What time is it right now? You probably just glanced at your phone or a clock nearby, but have you ever wondered how people told time before smartphones, before wristwatches, even before mechanical clocks existed? Today, we'll dive into 5 fascinating facts about clocks that will completely change the way you look at time itself. The very first clocks didn't have hands or even a ticking sound. Ancient people relied on sundials, simple sticks casting shadows on the ground. But here's the curious part. Different civilizations divided time differently. For example, the ancient Romans split the day into 12 hours of daylight and 12 hours of night. This meant that in summer, an hour during the day could be nearly twice as long as in winter. Imagine living in a world where the very length of an hour changed depending on the season. It shows just how flexible the idea of time once was. Hourglasses might look like props from pirate movies, but in the Middle Ages, they were serious scientific tools. Sailors used them at sea, not just to measure time, but also to structure their lives on long voyages. The sand running out marked when it was time to change shifts or when it was time to eat. Some ships carried dozens of hourglasses of different sizes to track everything from the captain's orders to the baking of bread. For sailors, the hourglass was as important as a compass. Without it, life on the open ocean would fall into chaos. The first mechanical clocks were very different from what we know today. They didn't have faces, numbers, or moving hands. Instead, they struck a bell at regular intervals, usually once every hour, and that was all people needed. Imagine living in a town where the only way to know the time was by listening for the church bell. In fact, in some places, it was forbidden to add clock faces at all, so that everyone relied on the same shared signal. Time wasn't personal back then. It was communal, something you experienced together with your whole city. Wristwatches were originally considered a women's accessory in the 19th century. Men mostly carried pocket watches. However, during World War I, soldiers needed a more practical way to check the time while on the battlefield. This necessity led to the popularization of wristwatches for men. And after the war, wristwatches became a fashionable and practical item for everyone. Alright, before we reveal the final fact, please hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. It helps us bring you more amazing stories, and we truly appreciate it. Today, the most accurate timekeepers in the world are atomic clocks. Instead of sand, shadows, or bells, they measure the vibrations of atoms, usually cesium or rubidium, which oscillate with mind-blowing precision. To put it in perspective, if you left an atomic clock running for 15 billion years, it would be off by less than a single second. That's actually longer than the age of the universe itself. These clocks are so precise that they guide GPS satellites, synchronize the internet, and even define the very concept of a second worldwide.